It's been a long time since I've done stand-up comedy. As mentioned, I usually do improv. So I was thinking about stand-up jokes I used to do when I did stand-up comedy, and most of those jokes were about just being single. And I'm married now. My wife is here with me. But I'm going to tell one of those jokes anyways. So if you can, with me, imagine like a slightly younger, actually kind of in shape version of me telling this joke. So a while back, I was hanging out with my family at my grandma's house, and my grandma looks up from where she's sitting, and she goes, "You know, I really hope I have great-grandchildren before I die." Which I feel was a little bit unfair, because if the race is between her dying and me getting married, I feel like my end of that requires a little bit more effort. Like, I'm not going to trip one of these days and suddenly not be socially awkward. That was my single person joke, thank you. Yep. So, who here has allergies? Yeah, lots of you guys. I also have really bad allergies, and I feel like for those who don't have allergies, to let you know what it's like your immune system is just the general from every movie with nice aliens in it. Like, you'll walk past a flower and your immune system will be like, "Now, hold up. I don't know what that is or where it came from, but until we get some answers, I recommend we treat it as hostile." And you're just like, "Hang on, it's just pollen. Are we sure it's going to kill us?" And it's like, "The only way we can be sure it won't is if I kill us first. Drop the nukes. Drop all of them." So I recently got a job. Thank you. I've had one before, but I recently got a job that requires a secret security clearance. So for those of you who are wondering what actually happens at Area 51, you're going to have to Naruto run over there yourself, because I don't know either. But it always makes my job sound like it's really exciting, and all that it really means is that someday I might know something boring that I'm not allowed to share with anyone unless I include a journalist in the group chat. Then it's fine. I've also been told a box in my bathroom is okay, but I would never do that because my bathroom is too small. So my wife and I tend to try to eat food and get products that are pretty clean and healthy for us. And I've learned that a lot of companies do something called greenwashing, which is where they take something that's not good for you and they find things to say about it to make it seem like it is anyway. And one of my favorite things I've ever seen is a company that on their products they would say free from 101 harmful substances, which sounds great, except you could say that about literally anything. I'm sure a Twinkie, you can find 101 bad things that aren't in it. And I would just love to see somebody else use that tactic in their profession. I just imagine a lawyer being like, "Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my client has been accused, allegedly, of a murder spree, robbing several banks, and high treason, all of which done in broad daylight and caught on camera. But before we get started, let me list 101 crimes not committed by my client. My client has not driven blindfolded in the state of Alabama. My client has not given an alcoholic beverage to a moose in the state of Alaska. My client has not honked a horn near a sandwich shop in Arkansas. Now I ask you this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, would a man who has not once carried an ice cream cone in their back pocket on a Sunday in Georgia commit the crimes of which he has been accused? I rest my case." That would make my day. So who here likes Star Wars? Good, because I'm going to tell Star Wars jokes now. So I recently had some themed nerdy shows that I got asked to perform at for obvious reasons. And one of them was Star Wars themed. So I'm going to tell some of those jokes. So one of the things that I love about the Star Wars prequels is that they decided to use it as an opportunity to give us backstory for things that didn't need it. And one of my favorite facts that we learn in the entirety of the prequels is that C3PO was built by young Anakin Skywalker. And the reason I love that so much is there's a part in episode 6 where they're on the moon of Endor, they get captured by Ewoks, they see C3PO, this golden robot, and think he's a god, and he says, "It's against my programming to impersonate a deity." Which means at some point this 9-year-old kid is making this robot, and he goes, "I gotta make sure he knows not to impersonate a god. I wouldn't want him to take advantage of some poor teddy bears. I wouldn't want anyone to think that he's annoying." Like, he could have picked any personality for his robot, and he picked homeschooled. And one of my favorite things about that scene is that he goes on this whole thing, they're captured, and he's like, "Oh, I can't impersonate a deity." He decides to do it anyway. And one of the things that I feel like the sequels really missed out on was how that impacted Ewok religion. Like, I just imagine you're going to Ewok church, and they're like, "A reading from the book of Wicked, prophet of the great C3PO. And it came to pass that we did pray unto C3PO and asked him to bless us against our enemies. And he did tell us that our odds were 3,479 to 1. Nevertheless, we did march upon them, and he did bless us, that our slings and our rocks and that one log-rolly trap did overwhelm the enemy with their superior armor and weapons, and cursed our enemies that their blaster guns and armor were ineffective against us, whilst we punched them in the kneecaps."